Hey guys, White Fox 1225 here, and today we're going to be talking about a bunch of ESO news that came out over the past few weeks. We'll go over the next two DLCs, Scalebreaker and Dragonhold. We'll talk about Update 23 and the changes it will bring to the game. And then last but not least, we'll talk a bit about what you can expect from ESO in 2020 and beyond. So Scalebreaker is the next DLC coming to ESO in Quarter 3. It is a dungeon DLC featuring two new dungeons, which are Moongrave Fane and Lair of Marzalok. The dungeons tie into the yearly dragon-centered story, but don't worry if you're not up to date on that story, because each of the dungeons is also somewhat of a self-contained story. In Moongrave Fane, vampires have captured a dragon and want to drain its power, so it looks like you'll be fighting vampires and dragons. And this dungeon does have a few very cool new mechanics that I won't spoil for you guys. Then in Lair of Marzalok, you will be in Grotwood trying to save the legendary Elden Root tree from the dragon Marzalok and his corruption. 3 of the boss fights in that dungeon will be against Marzalok himself, which I think is pretty cool. As usual, both dungeons will come with a normal, veteran, and veteran hard mode difficulty, along with lots of unique item sets and other rewards. So far, I could not find any information on a new motif coming with these dungeons, which is a little bit odd, but I'll keep you guys updated on that one. With the Scalebreaker DLC also comes Update 23, which will of course be free for everyone. This update brings a few new changes, some of them quite controversial, so let's get into that right now. First, Update 23 comes with multi-crafting, which will let the player craft, deconstruct, and refine multiple items at once, so this is great for crafters and it will save you lots of time. For all you traders, you can now bid on up to 10 guild vendors at a time instead of just one. It is worth mentioning though that you can still only own one guild vendor at a time. Some changes are also coming to Undaunted Keys. They will now be listed as currency and will no longer be in your inventory, which is great because I think a lot of my inventory is Undaunted Keys right now. With Update 23, you can also spend them on Undaunted Coffers instead of just chests. These coffers will consume a bit more keys, but it will give you the option of which monster set you want to earn. And also, you can directly buy the monster set style that is available that month. Next, with Update 23, the Battlegrounds Maps, Aldkarik, and Isterus Outpost have received new versions for specific game modes to make sure they're more balanced. And of course I have to talk real quick about the nerfs and balance changes. I won't go into too much detail because there's a lot of channels that do that way better than I do. But healing is changing up quite a bit and it's making healing more reactive rather than just casting healing over time abilities. There are also some DPS changes. Overall, AoEs are getting a big nerf. Lots of people are upset about this, but that isn't too unusual for balance changes like this. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But if you want to test the new combat and the new dungeons, it is live on PTS right now, so feel free to check them out for yourself. That covers just about everything coming in Q3, but in Quarter 4, we will be getting the Dragonhold DLC, and I'm very excited for this one. In Dragonhold, you will explore Southern Elsewhere, also known as Palatine. In ESO, Palatine is a lawless wasteland that has been suffering from a plague for over 20 years. You can see some concept art from the zone on the screen. This DLC will end a year-long dragon storyline where hopefully we defeat the dragons once and for all. One big thing that they did tease at E3 is that Saisahan, who you might remember from the main storyline, will be returning for Dragonhold. The new Palatine Zone looks to be about the size of the Clockwork City, which is pretty typical for this type of DLC. It will most likely include 2 delves, 2 world bosses, and dragon events will be returning, which we saw in Elsewhere. Now, in terms of 2020 and beyond, there are a few things that Zenimax mentioned in interviews and things like that I wanted to cover here so that you guys have that information. Zenimax really stressed that performance is their key focus moving on. Creative director Rich Lambert said, quote, "Performance for us is kind of the biggest thing that we're looking at trying to improve right now. And that is everything from how quickly the game reacts to the client, reacts to situations. So when you press a button and you animate your character, we're looking at those kinds of things, especially in high density situations, I think a lot of those performance issues have an impact on how combat feels. It feels a little bit slow and a little bit sluggish. So with all of that being said, he also did say that animation canceling is staying in game, so there won't be any huge changes to how combat works, just how the game performs. The first round of these improvements will come in quarter 4 with Dragonhold, so hopefully they'll help the game run much better. In other news, spellcrafting, a feature they showed off in the past but never was released, is not coming anytime soon, although it's not completely scrapped. They're not working on it at all right now. It also sounds like we won't be getting a new class next year. Zenimax said they're open to adding more classes, but it has to make sense and it won't be an annual thing. So next year, I would expect more of a skill line like a new weapon, but not a whole new class. The next thing coming to PvP will most likely be another artifact added sometime soon, as they're really happy with how the new one turned out. And last but not least, they've thought about console and PC crossplay, but have no solid plans as of right now. That is it for the video, guys. I'm going to try to keep doing news updates along with lore videos, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.